we're live. We're live! Hi there.
Hello from
Happy
Stockholm.
Fringe Day.
Happy Fringe Day indeed.
We are here with Adam from Stockholm Fringe Festival and the Nordic Fringe Network, and Andrew is here from Wandsworth Fringe and Fragility Takeover, part of Wandsworth Fringe.
Yes.
So let's start with you, Adam. Why don't you quickly tell us about your festival and especially the network as well? We'd love to hear about that.
Okay, well, oh my God, 2010, we were 3 artists who've been out in the world performing and producing at Fringe festivals in Melbourne and in Edinburgh. And we had this dream about bringing the Fringe to Scandinavia. So we started the Stockholm Fringe Festival that has then grown and become the biggest Fringe in the Nordic region, with its sister festivals, Gothenburg Fringe, No Fringe Festival in Bergen, and Reykjavik Fringe. So this year we're forming the Nordic Fringe Network, and we've just our first artist call. We had over 2,200 artists applying from 82 countries. So there is an enormous interest to perform in the Nordic region.
Amazing. That's amazing, and it is brilliant. The brand new Fringe festival starting up this year. That's right. Which ones are they?
Well, you have No Fringe Festival in Bergen in Norway, and then you have Reykjavik Fringe. And we've just been contacted by 2 different Fringe festivals in Finland who want to come on board next year. So it's growing. There's no stopping this amazing movement.
Yeah. And everyone seems to want to go over there, don't they? The artists, especially Andrew's artists in Fragility, loads, and there was real enthusiasm, weren't there? Wasn't there?
Well, I think best to talk about that would be Andrew, who was one of the first artists to perform at our festival, and he made an absolute success out of it as well.
That's true. That's so long ago now.
I know, we've all aged.
I've got as grey hairs as you've got now.
Yeah.
Coming through.
I know, but...
Andrew, can you tell us about your Fringe experiences and Wandsworth and Stockholm? That's really interesting. You know them both so well.
Do you know what? It actually all started in 2011. I was at drama school in the Czech Republic. I did part of my degree in the Czech Republic, and Steve, who runs Prague Fringe, used to do this volunteer program where we would go. We do 3 weeks of volunteering at his festival. We get to see all the stuff. And I was watching specifically Lucy Hopkins, who is a great clown. And I was watching her perform, and I was just like, this is what I want to do for a job. This would be great. So I went away. I wrote a piece of theatre over the next year, and I took it back to the Czech Republic. And after, I think it was the first or the second show, I got approached in the bar by this very calm, half Polish, half Swedish man. Just rejected my work for his festival in 2012. Do you remember?
Oh yes, oh yes.
And he said to me, he's like, I think we might have made a mistake.
Well, the thing is that Andrew applied to our festival, and we said, I'm sorry, we don't have space for you. So we actually said no to Andrew, and then I went to Prague Fringe, and I'm like, bloody hell, this is one of the best shows at the festival. So, but that's just the nature of the Fringe. You go to a place, you meet new artists presenting new work, and that meeting between the audience and the artist is just something magic that happens. And that magic has kept on going for years and years. And I have then last year, I went to Wandsworth Fringe for the Fragility Takeover. And I'm like, fucking hell, there's a whole new Fringe coming out of one of the artists that performed at our Fringe. And it's almost like it's this wheel that keeps on turning, and you elevate the local through the global. I think it's fantastic.
Nice. Yeah. Elevating local through the global. Love that.
And then Andrew, your Fragility Takeover over at Wandsworth, and then you've got the Gothenburg, the award as well, haven't you? So that links quite nicely.
That's really exciting. So basically what happened was, to get back to the story, in 2017, we then went over to Stockholm. It was incredible. We sold out. I couldn't understand why people in Sweden were so interested in the work I was making, but it was great.
Yes.
And at the same time that I'd met Adam, I'd also met Greg Clark, who was then the director of Adelaide Fringe. He'd invited us over, and after we went to, like, literally that took 3 or 4 years of saving. After we went over to Adelaide for the first time, we had enough capital to launch our own venue. And we've been involved with Wandsworth Fringe the first year working with a company, and we realised that there was some things that Wandsworth was missing that we thought we could provide, sort of in terms of the support that venues could give their artists.
Yes.
So we found a venue to partner with. We, in the first year, put something like 43 different acts on. Last year was up to nearly 90. And next year is looking like it's going to be about 120 different acts. And you're right.
I know it's ridiculous. It's great, though.
Pardon?
It's ridiculous and great.
It's insane. The thing that we did this year is thanks to Adam and this Nordic Fringe network. In fact, it was Stockholm that put us in touch with Gothenburg last year. And I performed at the inaugural Gothenburg Fringe. Became very good friends with the guys and girls that run that. And we invited Marlin from Gothenburg Fringe over to just watch some of the shows and see what we were doing, and as sort of like a cultural exchange. And we brought one of her artists in, and in return we're actually sending one of our artists over to her.
Amazing.
Really?
That's what Fringe is all about, sharing and caring.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. In fact, they're taking 2 of our shows from Wandsworth this year.
Nice.
Well, we've done this similar thing with Brighton Fringe, where I've been going for years and years and years, which is England's biggest Fringe festival, and we handed out the first ever Nordic Fringe Festival, Nordic Fringe Network Award, and this is a part of the work we want to do next year. So next year we want to tour the best of the Nordic Fringe Festival award winners out in the world. So we want to go to Buffer Fringe in Cyprus, we want to go to Adelaide, we want to go to San Diego, we want to go to Sydney. So right now we collecting funding to actually make that a reality, to pay for artists to go overseas, to be able to pay them fees, pay their flights, pay their hotels. And it's our idea for the future for the Fringe is to actually not break away from what the Fringe is, but to be able to give each artist that we program an artist kitty with a little bit of money that will help them to come over, because we all know it costs money to participate in the Fringe. We're not there yet because it's about the government coming on board. So I hope there's some government people watching this right now, not just on a federal and a regional level, but council level as well. You know, you need to invest in your artists, and your artists are some of the best ambassadors that you have for your town or your region. So that's really important, the funding. But most of all, it's important.
Where Wandsworth, we have a dedicated arts grants round that anyone who takes part in the festival can apply for.
And that's amazing. I mean, just look at a person like Andrew that was given, you know, really a minimal budget, and he ran with it and made magic. That's exactly what happened. When we did our first festival, we got £2,000, the 20,000 kronas, and people came from 24 countries. 8 years later, we have people applying from 82 countries. It's huge. But very often underestimated and maybe a little bit omitted sometimes by the media, the politicians, and the people who look, you know, in the council and city coffins, or, you know, how much money is this bringing in? So it's amazing also to watch people like Steve in Prague and people who do economical impact studies to actually, apart from enriching the existing cultural landscape with exciting new work, what the Fringe brings in as an economy.
Heather in Adelaide and her team have released their impact report this morning, And
Yeah.
it's phenomenal. If you get a chance to read it, the
I know.
millions of dollars they're packing into what is essentially a very poor state in South Australia is beyond belief.
Yeah.
And in terms of artists, so how do you think that as a fringe artist it impacts yourselves, the culture around you? How does that kind of?
I mean, there's a number of things it does. First of all, it's an awesome community, and there was a lot of effort this year when I was touring around the Australian fringes, and they did. There's an Australian charity that specialised in mental health that were coming to the fringes and talking to artists. And I think as artists, quite often we're susceptible to like not getting on top of our mental health. But Fringe as a community is a great way of combating all these things that other people go through. And the entertainment we produce is very important for combating things like depression. So I think there's that. Also, financially, the impact is that this is now my job. I have somehow managed to turn telling jokes and telling stories in a full-time job, which is incredible. Like, it was not something that growing up I ever thought would be possible. I always thought I'd have to be jobbing in between, but this is now something that, like Adam said, with a shoestring budget, you've managed to sort of expand until it becomes an actual thing.
But also, it has to be seen that the Fringe is not just a place where the audience meets new artists. It's a meeting spot for artists. So a lot of artists who meet at our festival one year come back the year after and have worked together. It's a place to exchange knowledge, but also to be able to present work, maybe fail, then come back and refine the work. So it's a experimental, it's a little stew, and sometimes you need to add a bit more salt, a bit more pepper, but what comes out is going to be an amazing dish. Which is never easy. It's trial and error.
I think as well, if you're doing Fringe right, it's not just for new artists, it's for new ideas.
Exactly.
Anyone at any stage of their career can return to that Fringe idea if they have something boundary breaking and breathtaking that they need to scratch out. It's a really great place for finding that.
It's also we have to remember and elevate and celebrate the Fringe's ability to reflect what matters here and now. Very often stories are told, narratives are being brought forward that maybe don't fit in or get space in the commercial kind of performance art and media sphere, and then slowly you can almost bet that whatever happens in the Fringe right now, in 2-3 years, will be happening on the main stages. I can tell this happens over and over and over again.
Yeah, I think we might have lost Andrew there.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Are you back? That's right.
We may have lost the connection, but we will never lose Andrew.
Never.
You guys are a complete inspiration to everybody. What incredible opportunities you guys offer, and you're a complete success story.
Look who's talking.
You guys are incredible too. Like, you guys offer so much, and anyone that's in Edinburgh this year should definitely come to one of your networking talks, one of your meetings.
Oh, thanks, Andrew.
He's on our panel.
You're on the panel. Oh, good. We'll see you there, and you are as well, Adam. Hopefully.
Oh yes.
Don't know. Oh yes. Okay, good. Well, we're going to wrap up there with happy Fringe Day to you both.
Happy Fringe Day too. Much love from Stockholm, from Bergen, from Gothenburg, from Reykjavik, and actually Coventry right now. I'm not in Sweden right now.
It's really started to rain here.
Brilliant. All right, lots of love.
Lots of love.
Bye, guys.
Bye.